some of the best leaders I've ever served under were really aware of their own emotions and how those might affect me, but didn't give me the responsibility to figure that out.
It's good.
So if I got
Yeah.
invited into the house, I wasn't then made responsible or felt responsible for the different rooms. And often that's
Yeah.
even when I'm talking to people about what does it mean to invite others into our homes, we also have to learn how to be really good guests. So when somebody's practicing that authenticity, understanding exactly what's going on and what that means and not
Yeah.
weaponizing that or using that against them.
Welcome back to part 2 of our interview with Michael Pepper as we discuss authenticity and leadership.
Yeah. Now, the thing that you just said is exactly what I wanted to talk about. This isn't just a switch you flip. All right, from now on, I'm authentic. It takes practice. We spend so much time
Yeah.
putting on different personas about what position I'm in or who I'm talking to. If I'm going to truly be authentic, I feel like you have to practice that.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean to practice authenticity? What
Yeah.
does that mean?
So I think for me, the biggest piece is, and this is kind of the therapist side coming out, is finding how to do that safely. And so a lot of
Mm,
us, we carry with us a lot of experiences and relationships. I had a professor that used the phrase one time that we're wounded in relationships, so we're going to be healed in relationship. Nothing happens outside of relationship. Nothing happens in a
yeah,
vacuum.
yeah,
So, even in my own life, it's been learning how to practice that with people who are abundantly safe and understand what we're practicing. Now, some of that I stumbled into naturally just with a couple of friends that I've had for a long time. But even there, and this is even, in the last couple of months, two guys that I really kind of connect with and we share a lot vulnerably. Part of our conversations are that even in those moments where we know this is a trusted space, I'm saying things like, man, this feels really dumb to say out loud to you guys. I'm worried about your judgment of me. And we've got 20 years of friendship between us.
right. Wow.
Part of the practice is, I think, even naming that so that they can go, okay, yeah, so Michael's feeling a little bit of shame right now. Like, let's be
Yeah,
gentle here. But hey, man, we're here for you. Say whatever you need to say. Like, we want to connect to it. We want to provide safety for that. And, you know, part of me even in saying this to you is like, wow, I'm a therapist and I'm just now figuring this, it's like, wow. But I think you're right. It's taken me years of practice to
yeah,
recognize it's more valuable to admit that in that moment than project to them, no, I'm good. Here's where I'm struggling. Thanks
yeah,
for listening. Great, great. We're all doing this. Good. But actually slowing down and paying attention and going, man, I feel almost embarrassed that I'm wrestling here, or I've thought this,
wow.
and then it's inviting people into that space and practicing over and over
Mm,
again, both doing that, but I think also providing that safety for other people.
that's good. To have the forethought, I feel like that's something you'd have to know going in. Like, I might get into this sort of space, and for me, I would have to practice that before I could practice it. Like the
Absolutely.
pre-practice,
Absolutely.
here's what
That
I'm gonna
awareness.
say. Here's yeah, just I would have to that would take some spin up and maybe even people listening too. The As we wrap up, this whole analogy, like you said, of being in the front yard and in the house, and being a good host and being a good guest for others, and even practicing this authenticity. This all sounds great. This all sounds like something we should all do. The question is why is it important right now? All the things that we could be working on. I heard someone the other day reference, yeah, back in the middle of the pandemic. You mean this one? You mean like the one we're in? Like this one? And of
Yeah.
all the things we could be working on right now as leaders, as people wanting to lead, whether that's at home or at work or family or whatever
Yeah.
that means, why is authenticity important right now?
Yeah. I love that question. Because I think back to that when we're wounded in relationship or healed in relationship, people connect to people, not ideas.
Yeah.
And I think this collective moment we're all experiencing, there is a desperate need for people who can really connect on an emotional level and make it okay to not have all the answers or have it all figured out. I would also add, I think even just, and I'll be careful not to get on a soapbox here, but even just the way social media sets this up, you hear people, I think, be very vulnerable in social media, but it's still a very edited version. I don't see too many people get famous with photos that don't have filters on them, right? So there's still some level of a kind of managed, perfected view. And that's okay. That might be how that's set up. But we desperately need very real people with very real emotions connecting to each other and really giving the space for that to be okay. And I often tell, when people talk about the work I do as a therapist, I often say, it's more simple than you think. I am often just providing space for somebody to say something and for me to say, okay, I'm here with you right now, and let's be okay together with this right now.
Yeah.
And I wish the hours and hours of study I did and the books I've read gave me brilliant answers. But I can tell you right now, the majority of my clients, the most connected moments are when they look at me and say, you're okay right now with me in here. And I say, yeah. And that to me is a sacred space that takes a lot of work to build, but also to really protect. And I think, especially as leaders, if we go out and we create those spaces for people around us, it multiplies on itself.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine a better scenario where we're in this thing that we're in now. And instead of having what I would call this individual trauma, to acknowledge that I have others around me who I can be real with.
Yeah.
I can be authentic. I don't have to have the guard, like I have all the answers, and I can just be me, and they're okay with that.
Yeah.
That makes this whole thing so much easier. That makes this whole thing I can get through it if I know I'm doing it together and the real me, not the representative. Right. Michael, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hey, for everyone watching or listening, you can join us on leadingasleaders.com for more content. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, and hopefully something we've said today helps you as you're leading his leaders. Bye, everyone.
That was Michael Pepper, a licensed therapist and organizational effectiveness specialist, speaking on authenticity and leadership. We hope you've enjoyed the new intro. Video produced by Priyanish Animations at priyanish.net. Music produced by Uphill Studios at uphillstudiosonline.com.